The last time we saw Matt Smith's Daemon Targaryen, his brother's Kingsguard were kicking 7 bells out of him. You can't keep a good guy down for too long, though, and before you know it, he's back up and quietly murdering his wife so that he can wed his niece. Believe it or not, that isn't even the worst marriage-related choice of the show. Think family values, Targaryen style. Gotta love Westeros, where your chances of surviving any particular wedding are roughly 50%. Thus, we begin as Daemon prepares to murder his wife, Lady Rhys Royce, by donning an absurdly huge hoodie, Rachel Redford, evidently an alliteration queen. Given that they reportedly never consummated their marriage, he might have simply requested an annulment or its local equivalent, but perhaps doing so would have wounded his male pride, or it would have been a land grab for her fortune. It would be better to commit murder right away, albeit his hatred of Rhys seems strange given that he seems to be the actively antagonistic sort. Unfortunately, Viserys' timing is awry as he sets sail for Driftmark to arrange the marriage of Rhaenyra Millie Alcock and Laenor Velaryon, the son and heir of Lord Corlys Stephen Toussaint. Laenor Velaryon is gay, but dynastic unions rarely give such issues much consideration. The young couple make a commitment to each other to ignore the situation and move on with their lives. Driftmark is a fairly unique setting since it combines St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall with darkly lit studio sets loaded with treasures from the sea that the sea snake brought back from its several travels. Viserys frequently stresses the significance of finally joining the two houses, Targaryen and Velaryon, although in reality, his cousin Rhaenys Targaryen Eve Best is the bride's mother. It must be a conscious effort to highlight how completely ignored she has been and how mindlessly patriarchal Viserys is. However, he is the only one who believes his daughter will succeed in the kingdom without any issues. So much for his aspirations to be a dreamer who could predict the future. This week, the show's gloomy, shadowy settings cause a few issues, and one component of the clothing that ought to be frightening just isn't. Indignant that Rhaenyra lied to her, she didn't, but it's a matter of degree. Alicent Emily Carey finally makes the decision to fight back this week and acts out against both husband and heir. She is encouraged to do so by Sir Larry Strong and Matthew Needham, who in this situation resembles Littlefinger somewhat. Perhaps the suspense is building. After that conversation, Alicent is expected to make a significant declaration of independence from the Targaryens when she arrives at the engagement party dressed in green. Her emerald gown ought to be a big moment, but House of the Dragon needs to explain it to us rather than show it because it doesn't provide any of the crucial context. For instance, Rhaenyra wears white at the same moment rather than Targaryen black and red, an anachronism if we're basing this on medieval times. Brides wearing white really only dates back to Queen Victoria in the 19th century, and we've already seen Alicent in blue and bronze in this episode. This might have been noteworthy if the show had earlier made a point of modifying Alicent's appearance when she was married or had constantly dressed female Targaryens in red and black like the men. It is simply a good outfit as is. Up until this point, the show has been rather talky, with some heartfelt exchanges between characters like Alicent and Otto, Rhys Ifans, Rhaenyra, and Laenor. It's interesting to note that this is director Claire Kilner's second episode, tying her with Michelle MacLaren, Westeros' only other female filmmaker, who directed 2 episodes each in seasons 3 and 4 of Game of Thrones. Thankfully, Kilner will appear in one more episode before Jita Vasant Patel joins her later in the season. Despite the show's heavy emphasis on gender interactions, there are at least some modest efforts being made behind the camera in the direction of equality. Hopefully, the women in the series won't only have emotionally intense episodes like these and will experience action that goes beyond fistfights. Or, more accurately, a duel between Gauntlet and Face as this week comes to a close. The week-long celebrations for the royal wedding are abruptly cut short when Sir Criston Cole Fabian Frankel, wearing heavy armor, fights with Joffrey Lonmouth Solly MacLeod, also known as the Knight of Kisses and Laenor's boyfriend, who is dressed in velvet. Things don't go well for him since if your name is Joffrey, you shouldn't attend weddings. Goodbye, young Lonmouth, we hardly got to know you. We've learned a lot about wedding superstitions and etiquette from this world. It doesn't matter if you meet the bride before the wedding, neither do you need anything borrowed nor blue. But getting married while rats nearby are eating the congealing blood of your husband's recently deceased lover is a horrible choice. It's also not a particularly good indication if your own partner contemplates seppuku at the same time but is dissuaded by your antagonistic stepmother. It also isn't very lucky if your uncle smolders at you on the dance floor or if your dad passes out on the dance floor from his rotting wounds as you finish your vows. Thoughts and best wishes go out to the happy couple. Perhaps everything will turn out perfectly. Another talky episode this week, but one that highlights the divisions within the Targaryen family. They get more divided the more they make an effort to appear united. However, strong performances keep it engaging, particularly as Millie Alcock and Emily Carey finish their run prior to the significant time jump. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.